What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode number 3 of Button Bounces back at F1 2015 career mode that we're doing with Jensen Button. And after the fantastic support that you all showed on yesterday's video, the Malaysian Grand Prix, I thought, you know what, we're going to put out episode 3 the next day, back-to-back F1, and today we're going to be racing in China. Once again, I've missed out practice because we've got quite a lot going on in the race, so you're just seeing the one-shot qualifier now, which I've just noticed, by the way. I've never noticed. If you look in the top left of the screen, the position I'm in constantly changes to where I actually am on the grid. I've never noticed that before. I didn't think you could really see where you'd finished until sort of after the end of qualifying when the results come in, but it actually says up there, which is pretty cool, and it's constantly changing. But yeah, I think that's a pretty nice feature that I just never noticed before. But yeah, we've got the Chinese Grand Prix today. A little bit of background on China from my personal point of view. Again, I don't know it as well as Australia and Malaysia. I know it a little bit, but it's not a track that I'm particularly comfortable with. And as you'll see in a second, it's another track that has got an absolutely huge straight, which doesn't play into the hands of the McLaren whatsoever, unfortunately. And you can see first place here, I think it's Hamilton setting the fastest time, in qualifying at the moment, and we just cannot match him. We actually get a little bit close to him in the corner, and then we enter the really long straight now, and he just reels away from us. But like I said at the start, I'd just like to thank you all for your fantastic support on the last episode of the F1 career mode. Was it Malaysia? Yeah, it was Malaysia. The comments are really, really nice and supportive. Loads of likes. We got 15, 16 likes, something crazy like that, and I only asked for 10, so that is just absolutely amazing. And another thing I would like to briefly mention, first I'd say actually, I'm no expert on F1 by any stretch of the imagination. I like watching the occasional race, and I like playing the games, but it's I'm recording this Saturday morning, and I'll go really wide there, by the way, that was absolutely terrible. I'll get a warning for corner cutting. This morning there was the really sad news that unfortunately Jules Bianchi had passed away. He had a really bad crash. I think it was, I don't know what Grand Prix it was in, but I'm pretty sure it was last year, and he suffered some really bad brain injury. But he's unfortunately passed away this morning, so it was really, really bad news. I mean, no one ever likes to see people passing away at a young age. I believe he was only 25. Like I say, I'm no expert on the matter, so I don't want to go too in depth, but you know, I just think it's worth a mention. We're playing an F1 game. I think it'd be pretty ignorant of me not to mention the fact that that's, you know, really sad news, unfortunately, for the sport as well. But we qualified in 8th in the qualifying session, which wasn't too bad at all. We go into the race and he's absolutely peeing it down, unfortunately, which doesn't, I mean, at first I actually didn't think it'd suit me whatsoever, because I thought, you know what, it's going to be a struggle to handle the car. We lose a place in the first corner as well, but then something becomes very, very apparent. You can't use DRS in the rain, which I did know, I just completely forgot about it, to be honest, and that actually ends up playing into our hands a little bit more, because obviously, I've said before, we suffer with straight line speed in this McLaren, and you know what, if there's no DRS, that plays into our hands. Another thing I want to mention is I'm trying to get loads in here. The camera is now in the middle right hand side. It was in the last video as well. I forgot to actually mention it. I believe I put it on the screen in an annotation. That was suggested by a subscriber, and it worked really, really well, so thank you for the suggestion. And it's going to be staying there. Hopefully you're all okay with the camera being there. I don't think it's in the way, and you've got all the corners free now, so you can see all the different bits of information on the screen as well, which is really, really handy. But yeah, we do have actually a pretty decent first lap. We lose that position early on in the first corner, but that's just straight line speed again coming into play. But we are about to see an absolutely worldy of a manoeuvre on Sebastian Grosjean. I believe it's the first lap. I'm pretty sure it is. You can see, look, he's covering the middle, following the line. We've got a lot of speed on around here. We managed to fling ourselves round the outside, just about staying on track. But unfortunately, it's for nothing really, because as you can imagine, he's got the straight line speed on us. Actually goes flying down the outside, and unfortunately we just can't hold on to it, because, like I said, we just haven't got straight line speed, like I mentioned all in the last episode, and I'm going to mention again today. But another thing that's really interesting that I haven't mentioned about this race yet, we have actually opted in F1, I'm going to try and get this right. Normally, if the race is dry, you have to use a set of options and a set of prime tyres. However, if it's wet, you don't have to pit. And our team actually recommended that we go for a zero-stop strategy. I was like, you know what? It could play into our hands. It could be terrible. We'll just have to wait and see. You can see again here we're having a nice little duel with Grosjean, who we ended up having the first half of the race. He spent dueling with him basically like we did with Ricciardo in the last race. But yeah, a no-stop strategy. I believe that most other cars on track were on a one-stop. So for the first time in this season, we're trying to outsmart the computer by going on a different strategy. You can see me and Grosjean coming really close together. A couple of times we just go tie to tie there, really, really close racing. But I was really interested to see it with Pan 8. You can see at the moment we're doing really well. The target for us is 5th, which has been set by the computer or the AI or whatever you want to call it. We get a warning for the collision with Grosjean there. But everyone in the comments down below was basically saying McLaren aren't that hot this year. If you can get top 10 at the end of the season, that would be really good. So that's what I'm going to aim for, top 10 finish. So that is our overall championship aim. I think I was being very optimistic when I said, you know, what a manoeuvre that was, by the way. Verstappen coming in on the right, Grosjean on the left, managed to stay true, going with balls, stay down the middle and managed to pass both of them. I'll hold off Verstappen and get past Grosjean. But we're going to jump forward to lap 6 now. You can see people have started to pit in. And you know what? I was like, can we hold on? Can we hold on? We're at lap 7 now. You can see we've been passed by Grosjean again. Am I making it up? Maybe they weren't pitting. I think there was pitting in the last lap that you just saw. But Grosjean and me, like I say, we were battling for half of this race. I think the pitting might be coming up soon, actually. I think I might be going to be premature with that one. But yeah, everyone was saying that McLaren, if they can get top 10, that would be really, really good. So that's what we're aiming for, like I mentioned. And Button, as we all know in real life, has just faded and faded and faded with McLaren. He's been very loyal to them, but he just hasn't been able to get as many wins under his belt, if any, in the last few years that he'd want to. But you can see Verstappen and Grosjean in front of me at this point, and I believe this is where the pit actually. Yeah, you can see Grosjean turning into the pits. I apologise, I said it was a lap earlier, but lap 7, he flies into the pits. So I'm thinking to myself now, because at this point, I wasn't sure if I would be the only one on a no-stop strategy, or if everyone would be on it. You can see everyone's pitting in. We're actually up to position 4 at the moment, and I was like, oh my god, there's only like 5 laps left, 4 laps now I believe, is it? Oh no, 5 now including that. You can see the leaders coming out the pits in front of me here, Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg. Our tyres are in much better shape than theirs, because they've warmed up obviously and now come straight at the pits, so we get Vettel straight down the inside, and we actually have a bit of a coming together here with Rosberg, a little nudge, nothing too major, but we do manage to get him in a second. Like I say, our tyres are in much better condition, like heat-wise, they're warmed up, and we've just got far superior grip, so we're able to get round him. And as you can see now, we dive up the inside. It's a slightly aggressive move, but one that does pay dividends in the end, I think. I think he actually comes back on the inside and flings himself across, but we do get him eventually at some point. You can see really close, comes across really close to contact once again. You can see it's just like the pace of Rosberg and Vettel and Hamilton and that lot is just absolutely crazy. I'm sure we pass him at some point soon. I'm not making this up. You can see we go to the left-hander. Did we get him here? Ah, of course, yeah, there's a little bit of contact, and I think I was very lucky to get away without a warning there, because a bit of a nudge put him wide, and then we went past him, so that was a bit dodgy in my opinion. But it doesn't make too much difference in the state of the race for those lot as it goes, because as you can imagine, you know, the straight line speed, the better vehicles, the better drivers than me as well, really. And Vettel comes flying past first, and Rosberg passes me shortly after. Going to use this time as well to say, if you would smash the, let's say 12 likes this time, because we got 15 on the last video. I've got faith in you lot. 12 likes would be awesome. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And I'm also going to say, I know this is a couple of F1 videos back to back. Don't worry, FIFA people, we have on Monday and Tuesday got Kevin De Bruyne's Road to FIFA 16 coming out, and also a pretty cool squad builder. Because it feels like quite some time since I've done a squad builder on FIFA, so that's going to be coming out soon. I don't know which way around they're going to be. Monday and Tuesday those videos are going to be out. But you can see we're actually on lap 10 now. Vettel is taking us over. There's a little bit of a snake forming behind us this time in the race now. I felt the grip in the car was slightly going. We have had to make these tyres last the entire race. These are all on fresh tyres now that have warmed up. Rosberg takes us over here. He went mainly outside. I tried to hold on, but again, we just haven't got the grip at this point in time, and he manages to hold on. And you can see, if you compare my driving lines at this time in the race compared to the first few laps, you can see I'm being dragged much wider, and I'm having to brake much earlier. Actually going on to rich fuel mix to try and hold off the computer a bit more now, because you know what, we haven't used it at all yet this race. 4 laps to go. If we can hold on to like a top 5 position, that would be absolutely awesome, particularly as we're in the McLaren, as I mentioned before, and everyone's saying that we're doing well to get top 10. But you can see now, again, we're going to lose a place on the straight. So Kimi Raikkonen comes absolutely smashing past us. Nothing we can do about that. Just have to accept it, move out the way, and get on with the race. Don't want to cause any incidents or anything. You can see we've moved forward another lap again, and everyone now is just slowly creeping in on me. Like I say, my lack of grip is costing me. But I thought, you know what, we're sticking to the strategy. If I can hold these people off, it'll be an excellent race. You can see Felipe Nasser comes absolutely belting past us, but we do manage to take him on the inside. I thought I'd actually got past him, but as you'll see in a second, he does keep a really strong line, I think, and come back at me. Yeah, there he is. Look, he stays around the outside, and there's not a lot we can do about that either. Like I said, it's just the tyres at this time in the race, the rain, everything, it's just against me right now. And you'll see in a second as well, something that I didn't realise, we have a real kick in the balls, because DRS is actually activated on the last lap, which I didn't expect. But you can see where, here we are, last lap now, look, 7th place. Kvyat's just passed me, so I dropped back into 8th, but we do manage to fight back at him a little bit, I believe. But yeah, DRS had been turned on for this last lap, and I was like, you know what, The race is close, the grid's close, this is a kick in the balls, this could be the difference between me getting the points and not. We try and come back on the inside of the caveat, we end up giving a little bit of a nudge there, but we get away with it once again. There's a few little contacts in this race actually where we could have been punished, but thankfully we weren't. And then, disaster strikes, absolute heartbreak. We brake to go into this corner, turn in, and we get a fucking puncture, lads. Last lap of the race, we're in the points, we're doing better than I expected us to do, and we get a freaking puncture, so we're forced to retire, and that is just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, at first I thought, is it my fault maybe we weren't on a naught pit stop strategy, but we were definitely on it. I've been back and checked, our strategy was definitely naught stops, so I don't know whether that's something I've done, whether it's just plain bad luck, or whether it's just a bad call from the engineers down at the pit wall, but really heartbreaking. Really, like, I cannot believe punch. That's like classic Jensen Button luck in real life, to be honest. That's the kind of thing it gets. But we're going to have to brush ourselves down and get back in the right frame of mind for Bahrain, which is round 4 of the F1 calendar. So I'll speak to you all there. I'll speak to you all in the FIFA videos on Monday and Tuesday. Hope you all have a good weekend. Speak to you soon. Nidge out. Straight away here, Ricardo's on the just behind us. We didn't take the corner fantastically well, so you could say you got a better run off than us. But look, I mean, look at that. Just blasts past us. No problem whatsoever.